You know, our enemies count on what has been taught to you through preachers, teachers, whatever. They take that and use that to their advantage, and then they take the power of it to busy you in things that occupy you so bad in trying for prosperity, trying to get more for yourself. They busy you with that, while all the while they destroy your country. All the while they destroy your children. All the while they got you over here, lusting for the things that you have no business thinking about. Over here, they're having a field day destroying you. They get you tangled up in the propaganda of a person's character and personality. And they get you filled with that so that you hate enough to go and vote against that personality. And then, all the while, they've snuck into school, they've snuck into theaters, and they've snuck and control your children. Oh, but I don't have any children. They're not my children. But they're your future. You see, those children that you are letting the dogs have because you refuse to pray, you refuse to do God's will, they are going to be in control of your country one day. And you didn't lift one finger to pull them out of unrighteousness, unholiness, and destruction. You know why? Because you loved pleasure and sin more than God. You know I'm telling you the truth. Every last one of you, whether you have worked and labored with God while you're busy working in your little church and you're sitting so proud that you bring how many in and how many that the pastor and all of them honor one another and all of you stand up and have your banquets and have everything while everybody around you is dying because when you fast and pray, and oh, you go around the clock and you fast and pray against these things. Well, you're so busy, so positive you did your part. You do a tiny little niche for God. But well, I did my part so I can sit down, prop up my feet, and relax now. Well, that over there, so what? Oh, hey, somebody's tortured. Hey, so what? Oh, look what they're doing to that little. Well, that's not none of my business. Well, you know what? That's not my business. God did not call me to that. He called me to concentrate here. He called me to make sure I had real nice home, make sure I had real nice of everything, make sure my children had everything, make sure that's what he called me to. He didn't. Oh, he called me so that the pastor and I can go out to lunch and we could go and talk about God and discuss how God does this and God does that. And we could stand before the congregation as though we are something. And if they don't respect us, you remember we are God's children. We this and we that because we belong to God. I don't see Jesus in any of that. We say, well, you're nothing. What do you think? What does what you say have to? Well, I belong to Jesus. And if you think you've got God, remember this. I do. And when God gives me a message to tell you to wake up out of your sleep, you see, because Taking communion unworthily causes you to fall asleep and be lulled by Satan to do whatever. Oh, but that's not me. Going to corporate communion and taking 2 minutes. I am worthy now. I ask God to cover all my sins with the blood, and I am holy now. I can take communion, and I go home and I swear at my children, and I just swear at my wife, and I force her into submission, or I can be a nag and a rotten person to my husband, or I can cheat on him in my mind by watching this soap opera and that soap opera, and I am a Christian. I know what I'm doing. Oh, yes, I've been called to war. Oh, well, you see that woman that come in? She thinks she has more than the pastor, and she thinks that, well, look at how she's dressed. Yeah, well, look at what she does. And you see that guy over there? He dared to prophesy. He dared to talk to the pastor like he has something. What's the matter with him? Doesn't he realize that we are in awe? Doesn't he understand who we are? Doesn't he see? Oh, what is wrong with him that he can't tell? I wouldn't be in his shoes for all the money in the world. I would not ever, ever touch what they're touching. What? Did you know they're touching God's anointed? And the pastor, whoa, he had just come out of a bout with pornography. He'd just come out of a bout of maybe a bed of another woman. Oh, God, God has seen them all. God has seen them coming out, singing in church like birds and going and committing adultery. God has seen them laying hands and going and committing adultery. Oh. And you wonder why this nation has been delivered up to Satan. People like you who sit the highest. Why, I'm a prayer warrior and I organized this and I did all that. Why, I am the best of the best. Jesus says the best of you is the worst of you because you have the most knowledge, you have the most understanding, and you still do the worst things. That's what he sees. Oh, your rose-colored glasses are only going to last you for a while. But how in the world did we get separated where the sinner out there, why, the strip clubs and everything else, they're allowed to remain open, but our churches are closed. Why are our churches closed? Lord God, you've got to do something. How can he? How can God do anything for somebody who holds one hand with Satan and one hand with God? How? What do you think he is? You think he's a liar like you? You think he's a cheat like you? You think he hides in secret? You think he froths at the mouth the way you do in lust after sin? You think the moments that you can't wait to quit praying, you can't wait till you're done, you can't wait till you've taken your turn. Oh, now I can sit down and do whatever I want. Who have you deceived? Who have you troubled? Who have you bothered? But you see, the enemy is like this. And you pray for a little while. He's coming in and you feel him and you know him. And you pray for a while. And then he goes like this. And then you stop and say, well, I'm done. Oh. He is attacking. Wonder why? Well, how did he slip under this and slip under that? How did he do that? That's Smashy. Every day, Smashy, that woman passes by, and I don't know what you have against her, but every day, that's how you act when she's there. Now, Smashy, something's wrong. Because you love everybody around here, but that one woman that comes by troubles you. I wonder why. We're going to find out. And when I find out, I'll let everybody in this video know. not this particular video, but in the videos. We're going to find out tomorrow when she comes by and see what's going on there. She's passed by. Smashy is quiet. Everything's safe. I have to laugh because everybody thinks a little dog is just useless. But you know, my little dog is so in tune that if you come anywhere near this place, and I leave all of the windows open to give her access. I leave all of the blinds open when I'm gone to give her access to run from this room to that room to this room to make sure nobody can enter in. Because that little dog can sink her teeth where you don't want them to be sunk. Understand that. And it makes me laugh because she'll sit there and she sees and understands so much. She loves little kids. She loves dogs. She welcomes anybody that is welcome as far as I'm concerned. But I've had dogs that if my dog did not trust you, something is big time wrong. I had a Doberman where she loved the whole world. She was good to everybody and everything. But the second one man come by, she went crazy to get out. That told me something about that man, because if my dog don't trust him, something is wrong. Anyway, so I wouldn't trust him either, but fortunately he was only a stranger. But I didn't mean to interrupt this message, but Smashy is so adorable. And she's laying in her bed, just loving it. She loves to be in this room with me. I had a Maltese that I used to take and sit her on that little table I had. And as I preached and taught, I held that little Maltese. And he was in on every prayer. And hey, he loved it because he loved the presence of the Lord. I have been giving out messages that tell the truth for quite a while now. I think in late June, it'll be a year for me. So that's still some time coming up because I haven't been doing this for very long, but I've been giving out messages from the Lord for years and years. Whether people listen to them or not is between them and God. But I give you examples to waken you up and help you to see. Have you fallen asleep? Have you gotten to the place where you're so ignorant that you think God is just like you? That his son died for you on the cross, went through torture for you to sit down and take his body and blood after going like this. And you want to make sure everybody knows you take communion. If you only understood what true communion is about. You know, there are certain religions that have you go to confession on Saturday and have you take communion on Sunday. And it is the body and the blood. And they down, I think it's in Mexico, have emblems where they have a tiny little bit of the dried up blood of this saint and that saint and this one. Wow. What's the difference? What's the difference between worshiping dead saints, worshiping a dead preacher? What's the difference between praying through this dead saint or praying through this dead preacher? What's the difference? What's the difference between certain religions that mistreat their wives and beat them and do all this? What's the difference between you thinking you're such a man that she must do your pleasure? What's the difference? It's the same spirit. That same spirit that goes through the air, that same one that gave the devil permission to try to lock up our president, that same one that takes someone who changes the creation of God into, oh, there's more than two. Oh, there gotta be more than. They know there isn't. You don't get raised a certain religion and not know that. But it's to their benefit to busy you in doing this. Oh, my child, she just has to have it. Oh, my child. Oh, my goodness. I think for today I'm done with you. I only hope God isn't. I hope He has mercy on a lot of you. And those of you who are living for Christ, who love Him with all your heart, pray. Pray like you never have before, because the release of assassins are across this world to assassinate the character in the church of God's real people, in the nation of God's real people. Because the imitators, the impersonators, the people that have all of this want to control everything. So the conservative voice is shut up, and you let it. You let it by not believing and not praying. You let it because when you feel, oh, there's nothing I can do, there's nothing you can do.